It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Let's get out of here. Aye. Hello, everybody. It's Aaron from Got a Minute. I want to share with you something about Hebrew and some day counts between Feast of Weeks and Shemini Atzeret, which is the last day of the Tabernacles, the 8th day after the 7th day that is mentioned in Leviticus 23. We'll get to that, but I got to go back and show you some stuff. So, Isaiah 46, verse 10, what we have here is, I'll start from verse 9. Remember the former things of old, for I am God and there is no other. I am God and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning. And so, it'd be reasonable to go back to the beginning. And that word beginning is Reshith, which is H7225. You'll see it with a bet in Genesis 1, but really the word is Reshith without the bet. And I'll show you here. So here's our Hebrew, and this is bet, which is in. Bet is in, and then beginning, Reshith, or Reshith. And so we want to go back to the beginning, and so when we go back to the beginning, we see the whole Genesis 1, verse 1, the whole first verse. And every Hebrew letter has a value, so I'll zoom out and I'll get my other chart here. And we have Genesis 1:1, and I've kind of printed it out and made it bigger. And you can see the pattern here. This is one of the most exciting things about why I wanted to learn Hebrew, is because of Genesis 1, verse 1. And let me get a pencil here. Okay, so this is a bet, value of 2. This is a resh, value of 200. Aleph, value of 1. Shin, value of 300. I'll come back to that in a second. Here's another chart if you want to look at that. And you can take a screenshot of this if you'd like. Let me just zoom out just a hair so you can see that better. And you can see the value there of every letter. Every letter gets a value. There's 22 Hebrew letters, and they all get a value. Okay, so most people that are watching this video are familiar with that. But if you're not familiar with that, take a screenshot and learn a little bit about that. So I'm just going to assume that most people know what I'm talking about there. And so there's a shin value of 300, yod value of 10, tav value of 400, bet value of 2, resh value of 200, aleph value of 1, aleph value of 1, lamed value of 30, hey value of 5, yod value of 10, mem value of 40, aleph value of 1, and then so on and so on. And so the value of this is 2701. So Genesis 1:1, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, essentially is how most of us understand it. And it's got a value of 2701 in the Hebrew value system. So God has said that the beginning is the value of 2701. So that's a significant number. And this whole idea came from James Houghton, HR8EF. He had brought this up to connect this Genesis 1:1 with my video I made a few days ago. So thank you, Brother James, for leaving your comment. That you've really spurred my thought into this. So we've got that. We've got the value system of Hebrew for Genesis 1:1. And wouldn't you know it? So that's what I just explained here. Genesis 1:1, value of 2701. That's the Hebrew value in Genesis 1:1. Well, the day count from Feast of Weeks to Shemini Atzeret, which is the 8th day of Tabernacles, the day after the 7th day of Tabernacles, in 2032, is Friday, October 29th. And Feast of Weeks being June 8th, 2025. And there's 2,701 days there. I'll include a screenshot here in which we're including June 8th and Friday, October 29th in the count. So that is quite amazing. And in fact, I know this isn't really that clear here, but I did a basic count from every Shemini Atzeret from every year, and essentially what you find here with this chicken scratch is you get really close to 2,701 days almost every year. So pretty much every year, Feast of Weeks always lands on a Sunday of any year, and when you add 2,701 days, it essentially gets you to the end of Tabernacles every single year. Every time it happens like that. You're either 2,701 days or 2,700 days. Like this time, 2,700 days. That year was 2,702 days. Some years are 2,704 days, 2,699 days. I guess it depends on leap years and moon cycles and things like that. But it's almost always 2,701 days from feast to weeks of any given year to the Shemini Atzeret. But it just so happens to be perfectly clean, very nice in 2025 to 2032. It's perfect. And like I said before, declaring the end from the beginning. So in the beginning, that first word, if you look at the word Torah, on the last letter of that first word, Torah backwards means behold Ruth, that's what the Ruth is all about, Feast of Weeks. So in the beginning, that first word, beginning, I'm going to show you my Hebrew Bible again, right here. So there's a tav, there's a vav, right? And where's the next? There's a resh, and there's a hey. Okay, so tav, vav, resh, hey. That's Torah, every 50 letters. Well, hey, resh, vav, tav, that backwards is behold Ruth. 50 steps backwards, but that's what Feast of Weeks is. It's a count. Okay, so can I zoom in again? So again, we've got Tav, Vav, Resh, Hey, and backwards it's Hey, Resh, Vav, Tav. 50 letters skip in the beginning. And so Ruth is all about the Feast of Weeks. And again, if we go to our chart over here, declaring the end from the beginning, we've got Feast of Weeks, which is the story, which is what they read the book of Ruth on the night of the Feast of Weeks on the 50th day. And so from that day to Shemini Atzeret is 2,701 days, which is the same value as in the beginning, the first verse of the Bible. That pattern of Ruth stems off the first word of the Bible. That first word of the Bible, Rashith, which is H7225, is the same day that Jesus rose from the grave. In English, we read it as the Feast of First Fruits, but really it's the Feast of Rashith, which Jesus rose from the grave. The first fruits we find in Leviticus 23 when it's talking about the Feast of Weeks is a different word, and that's talking about childbirth and first fruits. And I believe that is likely us. So that, I believe, represents the beginning, and that, I believe, represents the end. On this day, they celebrate the completion of reading the Torah, and they celebrate the beginning of reading the Torah cycle. So this starts and ends the day of reading the Torah. And on this day, it's according to Chabad.org, I believe is the website, they say that the first day of Shemini Atzeret features the prayer for rain, officially commemorating the start of the Mediterranean rainy season. And so it's a prayer of rain. And so what we have in Zechariah 14, when it's talking about the future millennial kingdom, is you come during the Feast of Tabernacles. This is right at the end of Zechariah 14. And it says, and it shall be that whichever of the families of the earth do not come up to Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, on them there will be no rain. If the family of Egypt will not come up and enter in, they shall have no rain, and they shall receive the plague with which the Lord strikes the nations who do not come to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. So the Feast of Tabernacles is a feast, according to them, where they pray for the rain. And in Zechariah, it says that's your penalty if you don't celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. So I believe that the Feast of Tabernacles / Shemini Atzeret is the completion of everything. It's the culmination of everybody coming together. We're going to see our loved ones. There's the beheaded coming to life. There's the nations and tribes of Israel. There's us coming back. I think it's the big party at the very, very, very end. And I believe that's the beginning when we are gathered together with the Lord. I don't know for sure, but it's a super clean count from 2025 to 2032, which matches Genesis 1:1 in the beginning. So there you go. We're one day closer. I hope to see you in the clouds very soon. Go, Jesus, go.